There's something about trying to succeed on YouTube that almost no one talks about. I'm sorry, that's a stupid way to start a video. Have you ever noticed that whenever someone refers to the thing that no one is talking about, they're almost inevitably talking about something that lots of people actually are talking about? Unless, maybe this time I really am talking about something that no one else is talking about. Sorry. When you start a YouTube channel, you might imagine it'll go something like this. At first, you post a bunch of videos that no one watches, until eventually one of your videos does well, exposes you to a wider audience, and gains you fans and subscribers. From there, your videos steadily start to get more and more views, attracting more and more fans and subscribers, and eventually the growth becomes somewhat exponential, and the next thing you know, you're unboxing your nice, shiny silver play button. Now, I'm sure this is more or less the way it goes for some channels, but I think success on YouTube is actually a lot less linear than many people might realize. Okay, fine, I'll use my own channel as a case study. I uploaded my first ever YouTube video on February 15th, 2020. It's currently unlisted, but in case you're wondering why it has 11,000 views, that's because my friend thought it would be funny to pay for viewbots to make it seem way more successful than it actually was. Like a lot of people, I started out by just posting totally random video ideas that were all pretty weird and stupid. I didn't upload very regularly, and I didn't expect anyone to watch them, and for the most part, no one did. Then, about 2 years later, I made a video about Buddhism in the style of a more focused and cohesive video essay, and in the span of about a month, it reached 25,000 views and took my channel from under 100 subscribers to around 500 or so. Now at this point, one might be getting the idea that you've cracked the code, so to speak, and your next video is going to get a lot of views too. And my next video got less than 1,000 views. Over the next year or so, I continued to make videos primarily in the vein of video essay style content, with a few mildly successful ones, but none of them got more than maybe 1,500 views. Until I released a video titled "Why I'll Never Be a Famous YouTuber," which, probably fueled in part by the inherent irony of the title, got just over 60,000 views, brought my subscriber count to about 3,500, and bumped my channel into eligibility for monetization. Since I released that video, essentially each subsequent video has steadily gotten less and less views. Naturally, this has led to some introspection around the question of, what am I doing wrong? And by has led to some introspection, I mean that every time I post a video and it doesn't do well, I am sent into a deep existential crisis in which I scream at the cold, soulless YouTube algorithm to give me even the faintest sign of what it needs me to do. But as much as it seems like I wrote this entire script just to vent my own personal frustrations, as much as it seems like that, from what I've observed, this is actually a fairly common pattern here on YouTube. Now, I feel a little bad calling out specific channels to help illustrate this, but the point is not that any of these people should be considered failures, it's just to point out that maintaining relevance and popularity on YouTube is a very difficult thing to do. I discovered this channel, Laced with Dreams, when this video, which as of now is currently sitting at about 1 million views, was recommended to me, and I found it to be a nice and honest encapsulation of this guy's views on life and philosophy. If you sort his videos by most popular, you'll see that a few others have done pretty well, although none particularly close to the realm of 1 million views. But if you sort by most recent, you'll see that a lot of his uploads average less than 1,000 views. Now, to be honest, I haven't watched a ton of his content, so it could be that his most popular videos are just inherently more interesting or have more captivating titles and/or thumbnails. But my point is not to try and diagnose what any individual channel is doing wrong or right. If I knew those answers, I would just apply the advice to my own channel and wouldn't be making this video. What I'm trying to say is that for a lot of creators, the highs of having a massive viral hit are often followed by the lows of grinding through video after video and being unable to recapture that same level of success. The apparent first video posted to this channel was a smash hit with well over 1 million views and was even referenced in a later video by legendary music YouTuber Adam Neely. but each of his subsequent videos received an average of around 2,000 views, which isn't bad per se, but if you were expecting to truly build on the momentum of your initial viral success, it would almost certainly feel like a disappointment. And the fact that his last video was published, as of recording, 4 months ago, makes me wonder if he indeed got discouraged by the soul-crushing nature of the YouTube rat race. Or, maybe he just realized he had better things to do with his life. Not sure what that would be. Another side of this same coin is previously highly successful channels that have seen their average views drastically drop off. This science and philosophy channel's most viewed videos have millions upon millions of views, but his most recent videos often struggle to crack 50K. Of course, perhaps this channel's time in the spotlight has simply come and gone. It doesn't necessarily mean his new videos are worse than his old ones, just that perhaps the style and format has gotten a little stale, or his audience has simply moved on to other things. But even channels that I would view as something like rising stars of the YouTube platform can often struggle to hold on to relevancy over a very short time period. This channel exploded in popularity due to the success of his extremely well-edited and engaging stories about various celebrities, with the most popular entries garnering well over 1 million views each, and yet none of his last 6 videos have gotten above 200,000 views. As far as I can tell, the quality of the videos is still very high and the thumbnails and titles all still look engaging, so who knows why these latest entries aren't getting as much traction. And this may ultimately be just fine for him. I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, he's still doing pretty well and attracting sponsors for each video, and it may just be a matter of time before his next hit comes around. And yet, it's still easy to wonder just how quickly the YouTube limelight can pass you by. Needless to say, every channel is unique and has their own unique journey to success, or lack thereof. But the reality of trying to succeed on YouTube is signing up for this incredibly up and down and ultimately very unpredictable ride. Going back to my own channel, because you didn't really think I was done talking about that, did you? I certainly have my own theories about what might be going right or wrong with it. Perhaps the "Why I'll Never Be a Famous YouTuber" video was truly a double-edged sword. It may be the case that a lot of the people who clicked the subscribe button just thought it was a funny meme given the title, and now these so-called dead subscribers have little actual interest in subsequent uploads, which may ultimately bring down the performance of new videos. Maybe many of the people who were recommended that video were primarily interested in the how to succeed on YouTube niche, which isn't really the focus of my channel. Although this video is sort of within that niche, so if it does well, maybe that tells me something. Maybe my latest videos just aren't that interesting or needed to have better titles and/or thumbnails. As a side note, I have experimented with changing thumbnails and titles because I've heard many people say it can drastically change a video's performance, but in my experience, once the algorithm has given up on a video, you get so little impressions that it's kind of impossible to tell if the change has had any effect whatsoever. Now, inevitably, someone may comment that I just haven't found my niche yet. But I have mixed feelings about this. I think that niches work really well for certain types of channels, but I've also seen many channels make video essays on a wide variety of topics, which is ultimately what I want to do, and those channels are often very successful. At the end of the day, I want to believe, however naively, that there are a lot of people out there with interests similar to mine, and it's really just a matter of finding and attracting those people here on YouTube. The fact is, you have almost no control over who the YouTube algorithm recommends your content to. You only have control over the type of content you choose to make. I could freak out and decide this channel is just somehow ruined and start over with a new channel, but that feels a bit drastic. And it also did feel like a pretty big milestone to finally get monetized, although so far I've only made $20, and you don't get paid until you make at least $100. Really, it seems like all you can do is just keep striving for that next breakout hit that cuts through the noise and finally exposes you to a wider audience. And while it certainly feels a lot better to get, say, 3,000 views on a video instead of 500 views until you find that next truly viral hit, whatever that means anymore, there may not ultimately be that much of a difference between 500 views and even 5,000 views. I think the popular adage of slow and steady growth just doesn't apply so much to YouTube. More so, it feels like the plight of the YouTuber is to toil in the deep darkness of obscurity, spurred on only by the faint yet hopeful light somewhere off in the distance that you hope someday will grow brighter than the sun and finally illuminate your talents for the whole world to see. Or something like that. In closing, it would be stupid to make a whole video like this and not acknowledge the fact that over time I really have attracted some truly awesome fans to my channel who give me a ton of positive encouragement and seem truly invested in eventually seeing this channel succeed. If you're one of those people, thank you. I truly appreciate it. And if you'd like to become one of those people, well, in theory, clicking the like and/or subscribe button should help this video get recommended to more people and ultimately help my channel grow bigger than the sun. But if you've made it to the end of this video, you've already helped increase my average view duration, so really you've already contributed quite a lot, and I do appreciate that as well. See you next time.